Good evening, good afternoon, or good morning, wherever you'll be watching us from. This is my personal business page, and my name is Jose, and I'm here with Keith this evening. We're in Ontario, or I'm in Ontario. He's in Calgary, right?
Sherwood Park, north of Calgary.
North of Calgary. And so we are still in daytime, but we are coming on today to chat about successful online businesses. Just today, I was talking with another group of people who were saying, there's so much online. How do you know? How do you know what's good and what's not good? And how do we stay safe and whatnot? So this is why we do some of these interviews, is so that we can expose some of the truth to our own online business. We are affiliated together, Keith and I, but we're just here in business to support each other. And so I really want to thank you for spending some time with me this evening and sharing your expertise and whatnot. So Keith is successful in this business, and he is always there helping other people out. I'll be there one day. No, I still do that too, but Keith is really good on the internet and whatnot. So he's a great source of inspiration and of great help to all of us. And so, yes, Keith, I'll give you before the time is out. Introduce yourself and let our viewers know a little bit about yourself, and we'll go from there.
Sure, I'll keep it really short, Jose. Thanks for having me on. As you mentioned, and you can see on the screen, my name is Keith Halwa. I'm was born and raised in Alberta, Canada, and I'm back here now. Through my adult life, I worked in the oil and gas industry. I started out in it at a very young age, and I wanted to work overseas, outside of Canada. That was always my dream to do that, and I managed to hook up with the company when I was 29, and I was asked to go to work in Cuba for a few weeks, and it ended up turning into over 20 plus years of living and working in Cuba. And during that time, I met a Cuban lady and we got married. That was never the plan. You know how life is. Things happen. My goal was to go there to make money to buy a house, and instead I ended up with a wife and living there for quite some time, and we have a couple of kids now. And I recently, in just this last month or so, I just became an empty nester. So all of that time went by like this. We were kind of chatting before we came on, and life happens. And so I'm going through another transition. I knew this day was coming, but it seemed like just yesterday I started working in Cuba. Now I'm already here living by myself.
Yeah, yeah.
And so, getting to the online business part of it, I found this business back in 2018. Was it 2018? No, it was 2020. 2018 was when we had to make a decision to move to Canada.
Okay.
2020 was when I was well, it wasn't really following them, but some people that I know in the business. And what happened was I would go on Facebook every once in a while just to see my friends and family and what they were posting. I never had much to do with social media at that time, but I saw this couple, and I saw that they were doing a lot of different things than what they were normally doing. And so I actually picked the phone up and gave them a call, and we chatted about what they were doing, and we had a conversation, and then we had another conversation after that. It was about 6 months later, and they directed me to our online webinar, and we have them twice weekly on Tuesdays and Thursdays. We do that. Um, and they pointed me in that direction. That's what we're trained to do. That's how we run our businesses. And so I looked at that online business, and I'm like, yeah, I'm leaving Cuba. I have no idea what I'm going to do when I get to Canada, because I've been gone, 20 years. I was outside of Canada. I lost contact with all my friends, all my contacts within work. And to tell you the truth, I really did not want to go back to the oil and gas industry. And it's not that I didn't like it anymore. I really, really loved what I did and what it's given me. It's given me so much. Everything that I've got, it has to be with the oil and gas industry.
Mm.
But the downside to it for me was, in order to do the job that I was doing, you have to physically be in a location uh, where the work is, and that would be taking me away from home. And I had already been away from home outside of Canada for over 20 plus years, so I wasn't interested in that. And so I took a chance at this, and I started this up in 2020. But from Cuba, it couldn't happen. And when we moved to Canada in 2021 is when we finally arrived here with my family. I thought then I was going to lose my job. That never happened. They continued to keep me working for them until 2023, the summer of 2023. And it's coming up on 2 years now. And that's when I finally lost my job. They were having issues with their client, and they terminated myself and a few other people, which was fine. I was fully expecting that that was going to happen. And today I'm pretty happy that I'm not having to go to an actual job. I'm,
Mhm, mhm.
I'm working from home. I'm in my little home office here, and this is what I'm doing, Jose. So yeah, and everybody else is watching. I love what I'm
Yeah,
doing today. This is a great spot to be at in my life right now.
right on. I keep thinking that it's easier to get used to working from home than going out to work, right? I'm not having any trouble working from home.
You know what? I love this. This has been, I don't even know what to tell you, like through my whole adult life. And I said this at the beginning, I always wanted to travel, but
Mm,
I don't want to do that anymore. That's not what, the way I think has changed, and I've aged a little bit. And it's not that I don't want to travel, maybe for fun, to go on a vacation or something. That would be fine, but I'm not
yeah.
interested in packing up bags and running around and trying to advance myself within a company and doing
Mhm.
all of these things. You're trying to be
Writing
successful,
a
and
resume, eh? Writing
yeah.
a resume.
Yeah,
Not interested
yeah,
in that anymore. Yeah. Hey, let's answer a few questions that people
sure.
might be wondering. What about can you work if someone was interested, would they be able to work a full-time job and do this business as well?
Absolutely. Lots of people do that. There's so many people that I have met within this community that do just that. And is it tough? You bet. Trying to do a job, maybe you got kids, a family, a dog, a husband, a wife, whatever you got going on. You've got all these other things going on. And there's so many people that I've seen that are successful. And does it take more time? Maybe it doesn't. It depends on how well you understand what you need to do to get the results that you want.
Mhm. I always think, when I wanted a paycheck from my job, I had to show up.
Yeah,
So with a business, I have to show up as well, right? So you have
yeah.
to, put some what do you call that? Like blocks of time where you can concentrate on the business. Uh, is success guaranteed?
No, it's like anything else in life. Nothing is guaranteed. You
Mhm.
said at the beginning here, you were talking about online businesses. There's a pile of them out there. Some work for some people, some don't work for some people. Some people are not successful. And why is that? I can't tell you why. I have no idea as to why some people are not successful, but other people are very successful. And there are different ways of doing online businesses. And I know, I don't do any other online business but this one. I don't have any real experience with other online businesses, but I do know, talking to other people in our online community here, that they have tried other business, and some of them weren't great. Some of them were right out, just they were never going to make any money. They were never going to. And within this business, the great part about this is, and going back to your first question, even if you can put a little bit of time in every day, as long as you're
Mhm.
consistently doing something every day to try and learn and start your business, at some point it'll kick in, and it'll be like that. And that's what happens for a lot of people.
Exactly. Exactly. Good. Thank you so much for that. How about is this a legitimate business?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely, 100%. It's legitimate business. We're in tax season right now. Everybody hates talking about taxes, but we get, it depends on how you set your business up. But a lot of people just take the easy route and they get a T4 in the mail at the end of the year, and they got to file their taxes, and that's it. I mean, I don't know what else there is to say. If you don't pay your taxes,
Yeah,
the government's going to come and get you.
yeah, they'll find you. They'll find you. Um, let's see. Last question. Um, has the rising cost of living affected your business?
Uh I don't know how to. I don't think so. I don't. Honestly, I don't know. I, I'm at a spot right now, Jose, that we were talking before we came on, and so right now I'm going through some life personal stuff, and like I said, one of the things, I recently became an empty nester, and I never thought that that was going to happen for quite some time, because of the way the Latin American community is. They tend to live with families for quite some time. A lot of families stay together their whole lives. That's how they live, and so, and I've got other things going on, so I don't really know that the rising cost of, I guess everything's going to cost a little bit more. So yeah, it probably does cost something a little bit extra, but to tell you the truth, it would be maybe the advertising part of it. But other than that, no, it really, and the cost of internet, I mean, you got to pay for internet, and that's really peanuts compared to whatever else, and you got to pay for power or whatever in your house. But I mean,
Right,
really, at the end of the day, to do this business doesn't cost really anything.
right.
You don't have to. This is it. You're looking at it. We're doing our business right now.
Exactly, exactly. I was also thinking as far as people joining the business, like I think with all the uncertainty of jobs out there, like I think if people like now they're talking about a second strike for the mail, Canada Post, and be people being laid off from the automobile industry. You don't know when your last day of work will be because they decide that, not you. So, for me, it's like having that plan B, having that extra income coming in to be there for when or if something like this happens. So, as far as the economy is concerned, I think people are looking for. Maybe I didn't ask the question properly, but people are open to looking because they need something else. So, yeah,
Sure,
that's what I
I
was
I agree with that. It's start a business or start another job, or at least be looking in case something happens to what your job is, like you say. You never know when the last day is going to be, and I'm glad I'm kind of past that part of it in my life, where I have options. I can go back to oil and gas if I want to. I'm sure I can get another
Mhm,
job,
mhm.
but I choose not to do that. I'm not, like I said,
Yeah.
I'm not
You
interested in
know,
it. I'm not
yeah,
interested in the 12, 14, 15, 16 hours a day for weeks on end, and doing that. When I was a young guy in my 20s, I was happy. I'd go to work for 5 weeks at a time and work 12, 14 hours a day for 5 weeks at a time. I'd come home for a week, and then I would go back and do that all over again.
right. Yeah.
And I was happy doing that. It was a something, again, that was my choice to do it. And but with that being said, there's so much that a person missed out on. But at that point in time, I didn't have a family, I didn't have kids, I didn't have a wife, so it made no
Mhm.
difference. It was better for me to be working than sitting around at home.
Yeah, exactly. With your to-do list, your wife to-do list. Well,
Yeah.
thank you so much for joining me this evening. It was great to be able to touch base with you. And I just want to tell you, don't quit on a bad day, right? Never quit on a bad day.
No,
We
no,
all
never,
have them. We
never,
all
never
have
quit on a
them.
bad day, and always make sure you know where you're going to before you quit something. Make sure you got something else lined up.
Exactly. At least you have a plan B, right?
That's right. You bet.
All right. Well, thank you so much again. And we will talk to you hopefully tomorrow, maybe at a different meeting.
Yeah, we got a meeting tomorrow morning, and I haven't been to the last few of them, but I need to be there tomorrow. So
Right on, right on. Okay, well,
Awesome,
thanks again.
Josie. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. Have a good night.
I thank you.